Alright, how's it going everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac and I'm here with a video on Berserk. It's actually been a while since I talked about the last arc that I was on, and part of it is because I was procrastinating. I was busy with school and just overall I haven't had a lot of time to read it. But also if I'm free, I wasn't reading Berserk, so it's like dang bro, I'm literally almost done. Like come on, we're right there. But also, I just well actually no that was it. Yeah, that was literally it. But I finished it. I managed to finish it, and now I'm here to talk about it. I'm here to talk about the Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc, or the Millennium Falcon arc, which is a Star Wars reference I learned, which is cool. I think it's really dope. And one thing I wanna mention is that this arc took 9 years to finish. Like genuinely in real life, this took 9 years to finish, which is crazy. Like I don't even remember what like if an arc a One Piece arc took that long to finish, because this is genuinely crazy. It might be because of Miura's health. Maybe his health started deteriorating. I don't know. I gotta look into it. But 9 years, that's crazy. Like I can't even imagine just reading through Berserk like, oh boy, I wonder when the next Berserk thing comes out, and it takes 3 years. Like, bro, I can't imagine. But one thing I can say for sure. Well, actually, let me get my rating first. Overall, this rating, it's a 9, no doubt. This arc is a 9. It was great. It was genuinely great, and I'm starting to have doubts on whether I like the Conviction arc more than this because I really liked this. Like, I really liked it. My opinions on the other arcs still haven't changed. I still think Black Swordsman's an 8, and I think Golden Age is a 10. But I think Conviction might go down a little bit because after thinking back on it, I think I gave it too high of a rating. It might have been off of hype, but if I do like a tier list video, or if I just go over Berserk in another video, once I'm done with everything, I think I might change it because this arc was just really good. If anything, it was better than Conviction, but I gave it a 9 because the hype from reading Berserk died down for me, and now I'm just looking at it as a story that it is. But overall, genuinely, it's a 9 wholeheartedly. The art, this man's art style is crazy, genuinely crazy, and that's one thing that I actually brought it down a little bit for me. His art's too good. Like it's generally too good, so much so that I can't see what's going on. Genuinely, when you're looking at a panel during this arc, during the later half of it too, it's so hard to understand what's happening when it's a beautiful looking picture of just complete nonsense. Like you don't know what's happening. You generally just don't. It's too good, and that's the scary part. Like the man was super talented, genuinely super talented. God rest his soul. But I just couldn't see. It was so difficult. And whether you think that's a negative or a positive, it does add to the chaos of what's happening. But at the same time, it's so hard to tell what's happening. Period. So it's like you take it how it comes. You either you like it or you don't. I didn't like it much, but that doesn't mean that I didn't see the talent that was behind it. Because oh my goodness, it was crazy. But besides that, the story was the best it's ever been. I feel like Berserk really just made such a turn for the better, and not in terms of like, oh, the story was bad before, but like just character development and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go into it because again, this is a spoiler-free section. But overall, I just the way that he writes a story is crazy because it's just so different seeing characters from the beginning of the story to now, and it's just like, bro, wow, crazy. But yeah, it's a 9. I would definitely give it a 9 for sure. But let me get into the spoilers so I can finally start talking about it. And by the way, this video might be long, like might be. I don't know if I'm gonna condense it or if I'm gonna go into it full, like no holds bar. But it may be a 30-minute video, it may be a 12-minute video. I don't know. It just depends, because this arc is long. And then by the way, the spoiler-free section's over. So the first part is after the conviction arc, literally like almost directly after, where Guts goes back to his name was Rickert. I can't believe I forgot Rickert of all people. Like I remembered him, but I forgot his name. That's so crazy. But yeah, he goes to see Rickert, and Godo is done. He's cooked basically. At the very least, yeah, he is because they went to go look for Casca after he came back from the Lost Children arc or whatever. So Godo's cooked. He's done. You have Rickert and Godo's daughter there. They're living together now. And Rickert, he really shaped up, man. He really shaped up. I love it. But you have what's this dude's name? Griffith show up out of nowhere because he's alive now. He's like He is the normal guy. He is femto still, but the Griffith now looks like normal Griffith. And now that Guts has Casca back, he leaves. He decides not to stay with Rickert because he wants to protect her. He doesn't want to leave her again. And this leads to some complications. Some complications that create a rift between new Casca and Guts. And by the way, Rickert, goated character, genuinely goated character. I love him so much. But it creates a rift. I'm not gonna mention it because it is pretty dark, like really dark. But it is bad. Like it is a low point for Guts' character because he's struggling like mentally. That man is struggling after all the years of just being the Black Swordsman and killing apostles and just demons mercilessly and being by himself doing it as well. After knowing what happens in Golden Age, like all of that is catching up to him. You can only rage for so long until it catches up to you and you burn yourself out. But then I guess if you look at it, the other side of burnout is invincibility, like Jeb said. But it's been catching up to him, and I like that. I generally like that because you would think that in a normal manga that the main character would just keep on raging until his thing is done, no character development. But now like there's a level of depth that I didn't see from Guts in the beginning, and I'm not saying like he didn't have depth. He definitely did. You could tell that something was underneath. But I just mean this level of depth where like you afterwards, not before, but afterwards, after everything that's been happening. So I thought that was pretty cool. But basically, you have all the people from Conviction are come back. Isidro, you have what's this dude's name? No, no, that's a spoiler. Can't mention her yet. Farnice and Serpico, there you go. You have them come back because they're like, "Yo, Guts, let us join you," or Farnese wants to join him, and Guts is just like, "Okay, sure, whatever." Like, it's perfectly fine. I don't really care. You guys can join me or not. I don't know. But you have Puck's still there, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But now, Guts and Casca, like, Casca does not trust him at all whatsoever. She fears him like pure animalistic fear. She will not get near him, and so she tags along to Farnese. And one thing that I want to mention, Farnice's character development is amazing, genuinely amazing. She really goes from like, oh, ew, what's wrong with her? What's she's weird, and like, you just look at her own struggles, but then you realize you peel back the curtain. It's like, oh shoot, like she's gone through it. She's really gone through it, and the change that she underwent from the way she used to act with the Holy See to with the new Band of the Hawk, basically. It's so fire. It's genuinely so fire. I love it. Serpico's still the same guy. He's chilling, but he's also cool. If he wasn't there, I don't think it would be as cool. But you have them going now, and now the Puck is basically taking them to his fairyland. But in reality, they first have to get to a magic. Well, they get to a. Oh my goodness, what's going on out there? Goodness, they go to a village. Okay, so basically on their way to Elfhelm, they have to go through a village first because one of the people through that village is like, "Yo, I need help. My village is dying. A bunch of dwarves or orcs are coming through and they're killing us all. They're they're doing all this crazy stuff." And so they the guy is like, "All right, I need you guys to help me get to a mansion, a witch's mansion that I saw when I was a kid, and she could help us out." And so lo and behold, they actually do find it. Somehow they do manage to find it. And they meet two witches. They meet an older witch, the witch head of the mansion. I forgot her name. And you meet Shirke, the an apprentice witch. And so the head witch is just like, yo, help them out real quick. Help them out, see what's going on, and also maybe you'll learn something. Because you can't be an apprentice forever, right? And so Shirke is just like, but I don't want to do that. That sounds corny. But she goes anyway. She's just like, all right, I'll help you all out. And so now we have a witch in the party right now, for right now. And so they go to the village. Crazy stuff happens. Genuinely crazy. I can't even begin to summarize it. But basically, they begin fighting orcs. They legit just begin fighting orcs, and it's like an orc offensive, and its guts just going crazy on them. Literally just a normal man, like 6'5", with a sword just swinging, bro. He's out of his world, genuinely out of his rocker, and he's just cooking them. While meanwhile, Shirke, Serpico, Farnese, and Casca, Isidro, Puck, Ivalera are all just guarding a village, basically from all the orcs. And we learn about Berserk's magic system, which is honestly really really complex because from the way that it seems, you're not using magic in the way that you would in normal stuff where you use mana and you just you use it yourself. Nah, you're basically calling upon the spirit world to summon things for you. And while you can use magic, you're not doing it independently. Like Serpico gets a cloak from the witch from the head mansion, and it's not a cloak that just lets you do whatever. Like, because it's a wind based one, and the reason why it's wind based is because there's nymphs, I think is what they're called, or just little creatures that are wind based that help him, and you basically have to attune to them. You're not doing it by yourself. You know, people are people, and the magical creatures are magical creatures. They're separate. So when they combine, they're working together. It's not one on the other. They're both working together. So that's pretty cool. So that's basically what she's doing. She's summoning like summons and all that, and they basically take control of her body and use Shirke as a vassal, or no, as a vessel, and that's how they're defending the village. And long story short, they beat the orcs. Then they go back to the mansion, and then they find Griffith's troops invaded the mansion, and that is no good because Griffith, once he came back and saw Guts, was like, "Yo, I'm alive, dog." Anyways, but and then he goes back to Midland. There you go, Midland, and he just basically recruits a lot of demons, a lot of people, and he brings them together. He's using the Hawk, the Band of the Hawk, as a way to unite everybody. He brings back Charlotte, and she's all good now. She's basically the what's the word? The queen. There you go. Excuse me. The queen of Midland, and now Griffith is the king basically. And so now he's here. Well, he's not there. It's more like Zod and a couple other top level demon like apostle level people are there in the witch's mansion, and they're burning it down. They're razing it to the ground. So lo and behold, Skull Knight shows up, the man of the hour. Oh my gosh, he's so fire. I love Skull Knight. So he shows up and he's fighting off all these people. And actually, because yeah, he's fighting off Zod while Guts was fighting off another one of the big demons. And he can't do it because he's bruised and battered from the last battle. He's tired, so he's like, "Yo, I need help." And this is where, oh man, this is where an important part of the story comes in: the Berserk armor, which name drop, but also the Berserk armor is one of the most important pieces of this manga because it is such a boost in power, but such a detriment to Guts. Because once he puts it on, it literally it kills him to use it. So it ignores all pain that you endure as a human being, but that comes at a cost because there are limiters in your body to stop you from overexerting yourself. Because obviously, you have more potential as a human being than you do normally when you overexert yourself, but that means that you're literally causing your body damage. That's why the limiters are there in the first place, so you don't hurt yourself trying to open a door and you accidentally pull it off the hinges. But next thing you know, your arm is broken. Like it's just not there. So those limiters are ignored when Guts puts on the armor, but every time that he does it, he goes all out and loses control. Berserk. So he needs help controlling it because that mental health thing that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, it it gets over um well, not over, more like it gets boosted because of that. And that means that Guts can't control it anymore. Literally, he can't control the beast inside, as crazy as that sounds. And so he just starts going crazy, but he needs to be stopped. So every time that he puts it on, it's a risk. But luckily for him, it works this time, and he gets stopped. They leave the mansion, but the mansion's basically done. So Shirke is now part of part of the new Band of the Hawk, aka Guts' part. Because there's two Band of the Hawks basically. There's the actual Band of the Hawk with Griffith, and then there's the new Band of the Hawk with Guts. There's two versions of it where there's actual members of the old Band of the Hawk in this Band of the Hawk. Meanwhile, Griffiths is still an army. It's no longer a mercenary group. So you have those two there, and Guts is cooked. Like he's basically on death's door once he gets out of the armor. But luckily, Shirkei helps him out, and the witch of the head mansion is just like, "Yo, help him out, please. Like, please help him out." And so she does. She joins the crew now, and now we have most of the people I think we're gonna get for a long time. I don't know if we're gonna get new people, but I don't like. Once I get to the end of this, I'll explain what I think. But yeah, the mansion stuff is done. Skull Knight leaves because he was a friend of the witch, so that's why they he went there. And also, like, come on, bro. Skull Knight has to be King Geyser. Like, there's no way. Like, that's my thing. That's my leading theory. I'm not saying it as concrete fact, but again, I feel like Skull Knight is King Geyser. Like, it's literally like the signs are there, bro. It has to be. But genuinely cool guy. I love him. I want to have a dinner with him at some point. But yeah, so the mansion stuff is over. Shirkei was bestowed upon by the witch a duty to help out Guts, the same way that I think she helped out Skull Knight at some point. And so they leave. They leave to go to Elfhelm. But first, they go back to Midland, or not Midland, but like an area near Midland where there's a bunch of ships, because they have to get a ship to go to Elfhelm. But that causes a problem because Farnese basically is forced back to her home where she's gonna get married off because her father ordained it. And now everybody's just like, all right, well, Serpico and Farnese are gone. What do we do? And everybody's just like, well, let's go get them. So they go back to get Farnese, Farnese and Serpico, and then we meet a couple characters. We meet Roderick, who yeah, at first he seems like a bit of a sleazy guy, but Roderick is actually pretty cool. He's genuinely a cool guy. Farnese's brother, on the other hand, Magnifico, terrible person. Genuinely terrible, terrible person. He's a schemer. He's a plotter. He's not good. And so, basically, Roderick was the one that was gonna marry Farnese, but Guts and everybody shows up, and they're here to stop the wedding. Like, yo, relax. This is not happening. Or at the very least, not stop it, but like make sure nothing goes bad. And Farnese is just like, yo, I don't want to do this because my mom told me I shouldn't, or I should do what I want to do because my father's controlling, but he's controlling because he fears me. So, I'm not doing this. And anyways, yeah, bye. And it really goes to show like I'm being reductive, but Farnese has changed a lot, going from being powerful in a sense of like, oh, my personality is powerful, but in reality she was a meek and scared girl underneath, to now being more like a gentle and kind soul with a strong underneath, who's like she's confident in who she is now, and she's trying to learn magic from Shirkei, and she was doing that before she left. So it's like, oh shoot, this is pretty cool. This is a really cool development for her. I didn't expect her to change like this. And while I saw people like, oh, I hate Barney, like blah 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 blah, like at least during the beginning of her introduction when she was still in the Holy See and Conviction arc, they completely changed her tune once she joined and she just had all this development. It's like, bro, Miura is kind of crazy with the writing, like genuinely crazy. So I gotta give it to him. But basically, Farnese is just like, all right, I'm leaving, and Serpico goes with her, and they get attacked. The entire place just gets attacked, like not just where Farnese and everybody's at, but the entire city itself gets attacked by one of the what's it called, Kushin, one of the Kushin Empire. Well, not one of the Emperor of the Empire. He attacks, and I actually didn't mention this before. Or at least I don't think I did in depth. But the Kushin Empire is an important part of the story. Like they've been here since after the Lost Swordsman or the Black Swordsman arc. They just been important ever since Golden Age basically, and they've been a presence ever since then, to the point where they're invading Midland and they took it over, and now they're invading this place where everybody's gathered to stop the Kushan Empire, and the Emperor himself went to go personally deal with this, and now it's basically Guts versus the Emperor and everybody else versus all the demons that came along with him. It's difficult. It's generally difficult, and I have to say that because of how good the art was, like how I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it was too hard to read. Like genuinely, it was too hard to tell what was going on in terms of the fighting because it was just like so much happening, and they have a bunch of dynamic movement, and I never been good with that. I never been good with understanding dynamic movement in terms of like manga or just reading in general, because if I can't see it in motion, I can't really imagine it that well, and not because I have that one thing where you can't imagine things in your head, like that one, not disorder, but I guess that one condition. It's not that I don't have that, or I don't have that, excuse me. It's just I've never been good with imagining that type of stuff. because I just can't see it, you know? I generally just can't see it. But like the art, no matter what I say about it, is always great. It's always been good. It's so beautiful looking, genuinely crazy. Like Berserk is one of the best, if not the best looking mangas I've ever read. It's so beautiful looking, genuinely awesome art. I don't know how Miura was able to draw all this, and it makes sense why it took like almost 10 years to do, because of the fact that why is the art so good? Like it genuinely each chapter was just like, bro, what is this panel? Why is this so beautiful? I don't know what's happening in it, but you know what? Whatever. It's just like, man, my goodness. But the 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 attack is happening in this whole well, not holy sea, but this area, and we get actually some crazy stuff because Griffith's Band of the Hawk show up. Not Griffith himself, but Griffith Band of the Hawk, they show up and they're helping out Guts basically. You have Zod, since he's a part of the Band of the Hawk now. He joined because he's like, yo, I'm subservient to Griffith now. That's what's happening. And so he's helping out Guts because they have a common enemy, and they give us one of the hardest panels of the entire manga of Guts riding on Zod, cutting through the Kushan Emperor Ganishka, cutting through him because he's electricity. They're cutting through him, and you see this crazy dynamic panel of them riding on like, oh, Guts riding on Zod, bro. It's so cool. It was so cool. I remember seeing a video from Tori Not Mark about Berserk like a year ago before I started reading it, and this was one of the panels, and he was also geeked out, and it's like, bro, I completely understand now. It was so cool, genuinely so saucy. But after that, they basically fend off the Emperor because Guts and everybody's leaving. They they aren't there to stay. They're there to get to Elfhelm and do whatever they need to do. But Zod and all of the Band of the Hawk are there still fighting him and all that, right? And Griffith shows up after Guts leaves, so they barely missed each other. And Griffith is like, yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. Not right now. Let's not do this right now. Um, I'm gonna go attack you later on. So ceasefire for right now. And the Emperor is just like, and he's completely afraid of Griffith. So he disengages. He disengages because he already suffered heavy casualties from Guts and Zod and just the people there already. And he leaves. But he goes back to his empire. He's just like, dog, I can't stomach this. My pride has been scorned. And so he's just like, all right, well, time to get evil, time to get malicious, and he absorbs all the apostles and just demons that he had in his empire, and he becomes like a world-ending threat, basically. Like if you ever seen Attack on Titan, how big Titans are, he's basically like the one fleshy looking Titan. I forgot his name. The Colossal Titan. There you go, the Colossal Titan. He's basically that big, just off of stature alone. But he's not like there's no human features about him because the Emperor himself is an apostle, so he was never human to begin with. But now he's even less human. There's only a face. That's it. Besides that, it's just a bunch of legs and arms that like or appendages that could constitute as legs and arms, but in reality is just a giant mass of evil, complete and utter evil chaos, just ready to destroy the world. Because he's swinging on his own allies as well. Basically, the Emperor needs to be stopped, no, by any means. And so once all that happens, this is happening in Midland, by the way, because Midland was captured by them, and this is where they reside now. And they're trying to get everybody out, or at least some people in like the rebellion factions in Midland are trying to get people out. So they managed to do that because of word from Griffith, and now they're all out. And then everybody from Griffith's Band of the Hawk go in, and they just start attacking everything, bro. And then Griffith himself goes to fight the Emperor, and he turns into Femto. He legit turns into Femto, and it just shows like, yo, this is not a new Griffith. This is still the same one. Nothing has changed. He's the same evil guy who betrayed his people. Well, evil, yeah, like he is evil, no doubt. But any semblance of old Griffith is done. This is just Griffith taking the idea of what he used to be and the idea of what people thought of him as, and reincarnating it into Femto, basically. So it's over. And while Femto is fighting, what's his name? Ganishka, the man of the hour shows up once again. Skull Knight. Skull Knight is back again. No matter what happens, you can always count on Skull Knight to be there, bro. That man is genuinely a presence. The same way that Zod was in Golden Age, Skull Knight has always been here, bro. Oh my gosh, I love him. So he shows up and he tries to slice Femto in half while also slicing Ganishka in half because Femto was in front of him. And this, like, I don't even I don't even know how to begin to describe it, but imagine the world, right? Just imagine the world of Berserk. This one slice from Skull Knight's like basically world-rending sword changed the world forever because it basically made it so all the fairy tale like creatures in Berserk were visible to everybody now. Like they're all presences in the real world. It's not just like, oh, you need to be attuned to the spirit world to be able to see them now, or at the very least have some presence of them and be aware of them. No, like everybody can see them now because they're all real. Like they always been real, but now they're really real. So that changed the world forever. This literally changed the world of Berserk on the same way that the Eclipse did. But if anything, it changed it even worse because now there's everything now. Like the world of the living, or not the world of the living, but the world of just humans and the spirit world are basically together now. So that's generally just crazy. But also the name of the arc, the Falcon of the Millennium Empire. It turns out that the Millennium Empire was actually a real thing. It wasn't just like the name of the arc, but a genuine civilization that used to exist in Midland before things have changed. But it's basically like imagine like Atlantis, the city of Atlantis or Olympus, basically. That's what happened. That empire came back, and Griffith is considered the falcon of it, the hawk of the Millennium Empire, and that changed the world forever. To the point where when that slash happened, even Guts and all of them who are on a ship right now with Roderick sailing to Elfham felt the wave of the slash. Like it's so crazy. They nearly changed the world forever. And now Falconia is here. That's the name of the empire. And Guts and all of them are going to Elfham still. And that's what's happening. The next arc is Fantasia because the world of Fantasia is real now. And that makes so much sense now I think about it. But that's what happened. It's literally like I just went over like 140 chapters worth of content in like 30 minutes. But do not be misled. I was super productive and super like I summarized it. It slimmed down a lot of it. Go read it for yourself. It is so good. Genuinely so good. And I just have to mention a couple things. This manga has changed so much throughout the time that I've been reading it. Whether it's because it's been like a long time since he started it, because he did start like in the 80s, all the way in the 90s to the 2000s, all the way to 2010, to where the fucking of the Millennium Empire ended. Like my man's been doing this for 40 years, basically, almost 40 years, and then on top of that, he was still doing it afterwards. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did it for 50, basically, before he passed away. Because that's crazy. Even though if there was breaks in between, he was doing it for almost like 50 years. Oh, well, excuse me. Uh, he passed away early 2020s around there, I think, if I remember correctly. So I don't know if it's 50 exactly, but it's 40 years for sure. He was doing it for a long time. Because if this manga came out in the 80s and it still never got an anime adaptation, like at least a good one, apparently, then like shoot, bro, it's just been manga the entire time. It's crazy, genuinely crazy. But you can tell from the way it changed by the art style in the beginning, where Guts and all of them were all younger, rounder. There was just it's like Dragon Ball the way that it went from like big bulking muscle guys to skinnier muscle guys, and like Berserk is the same way. Oh, not well, similar in a sense, where the characters went from rounder to more like rectangular and squarer heads, where they look more battle hardened and just scorned by the world, and it's just crazy. Like Guts is the best example. Once he puts on the Berserk armor, he does not look the same that he did before. He has a white streak in his hair now. His scare or his head is just rectangular now. The man has a bunch of scars on his body. He generally just looks tired every single time that he's just in a panel. Like there he's just tired. He's generally just tired from all the rage. And on top of that, the Berserk armor is making that worse. So it's just like, bro, you can really tell how much the manga has changed from just the way it looks to the story itself, where Black Swordsman, Golden Age, and what's it called, Lost Children arc, and I'd also say Conviction as well, like some of Conviction. Like it was gruesome. It was generally gruesome. Just the fighting hasn't decreased in the newer stuff, but the like rated R for everybody type stuff, or rated R for this is adult content, has changed, where there's not as much of it anymore, and I'm kind of glad about that, because how long can you put in like those scenes of like sexual assault, and excuse me for saying that, but just all that type of stuff of showing how bad the world is, like, and have it have a point, right? Like, because in you never want to see that stuff. That having those scenes, and like I'm skirting around it, but just having those type of scenes in this world, like how long can you justify it? Because it's hard. Well, it's not hard. You can't justify it in the real world, period. So in fiction, the fact that you have to put it in there, or well, not have to, but you put it in there, there has to be a reason, right? Like, why is it here? Why do we need fiction with that in it, right? Because the world is already an ugly place. So why do we need it in our fiction? But Berserk, I feel like handles it better than most, because most just do it for shock value, while Berserk has it there to show how bad the world really is, and also just how villainous people are. But at a certain point, it's just like, all right, we get it. This guy's a sicko. He's villainous. Whatever. It's cool. So I'm glad that they toned it down a little bit, which is, or I'm glad that Miura turned it down a little bit. So I was like, all right, cool. We see, we understand the world of Berserk already. We know what's going on. We don't need that at every uh, cornerstone of the story. Like especially with Golden Age, with Femto and Casca. Like at the end of the eclipse, that was like wild, bro. That was the worst of it. Like, oh my gosh, like d- Jesus, man. Oh my goodness. But I just like. And it's cool, It doesn't feel like it's not Berserk. It like the entire story feels like it's Berserk. It's just now Guts is a lot happier, or at the very least somewhat happier compared to what he was after Golden Age in the Black Swordsman. He's with people now who can help him out. He's trusting people again, because people are here to take care of Casca, like Farnes, to help him in battle, like Serpico and Shirke and Isidro. You have Puck and Evalera, as well as like their comedic relief. You even have Roderick as a captain, which I hope that he joins because he's really cool. But these just all nice characters. Really, just it feels nice watching them interact. It feels like the old Band of the Hawk, except there's no no, not Gaston. I forgot his name, but Corcus. There's no Corcus. So it's like, yo, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. But again, if I had to give it a rating, again, it's a 9, no doubt. Music, there is no music. Animation, there is none. The story, it's amazing. Probably the best part of the thing. Well, I guess the visuals, the drawings, the art is always peak no matter what. It's not gonna change. I know it's not. So it's like, yo, this looks beautiful. I don't care what people say. This manga looks beautiful. And just overall, like, characters, I love them the best that they've ever been in terms of the Band of the Hawk, and even the other Band of the Hawk with Griffith, with the characters that are there. Like, there's so much character in this world, even minor characters that I don't remember their names. There's just so many of them, and they're so important. It's like, yo, this is really cool. He genuinely cares about his world and the effects that actions have in it. Which is like, yo, I'm so invested in this world because it feels like it's real. Like, it genuinely feels like it's real because the character interactions are natural. The stuff that happens in it, it's not. It doesn't even need to involve a main character to for it to happen. Like, let's say in Dragon Ball, right? And I'm not using this to put down Dragon Ball because I watch it. Like Super Saiyan for Goku's right there. But Goku, for the most part, when important events are happening, he's there. And it's like a lot of stories do have that where important events only happen because the main character is there. But I feel like a world that's truly alive has important events happen whether the main character is there or not. While Guts would have benefited from being there, he's not the same Guts that he was in Black Swordsman, so he didn't need to be there. Because if Guts from Black Swordsman was the one that we had now in the story, he would have definitely gone there for sure, because he would have went to kill Griffith. But he didn't, because he's going to Elfhelm. And that's what I truly love about it. You can see the character development in the decision as well. It's just like, man, this story is crazy. Genuinely crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm going to have to end it here for now. This video is going to be super long. I haven't done a video like this in a long time, like probably since like Breaking Bad and Made in Abyss. But like Jesus, man, it's crazy. It's just so crazy how long this arc really was, and I enjoyed almost every second of it. My least favorite part was probably the beginning where they were looking for Farnies and all that. 'Cause I thought that was kind of boring, but I still found enjoyment in it. No doubt, I still found enjoyment in it. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.